थैंक यू ऑनरेबल चेयरमैन सर। आज इस मौके पे मैं आपका आभारी हूँ और आपके पार्टी की लीडरशिप का आभारी हूँ जिन्होंने मुझे मौका दिया इस महत्वपूर्ण बिल पे चंद अल्फाज बोलने का। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। टुडे आई वेरी फॉन्डली रिमेंबर सर, देयर इज अ फेमस philosopher, Spanish philosopher, his name was George Santayana. What did he say? Centuries ago, sir. He said, those who do not learn from the history are doomed to fail. I think when Jairam Ramesh sir was talking about the various institutions which has been, development financial institution which has been set up in the country since 1948, starting with IFCI, IDBI, ICICI, and many more institutions which had been set up. But there was, we do not discount the utilities of those institutions. They have been instrumental in developing industrialization in the country. But they had outlived the utility, and there were some inherent problem or issues with those institutions, and that's why they did not last long. Take the case of IDBI. It was set up in 1964 with so much fanfare, but it did not last long, and it was Narasimhan Committee which had recommended to make it a universal bank. Why? Because there was an issue, and I will come back to that issue, sir. But today, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Finance Minister, for having acceded to the request made by the financial market. It was a long outstanding demand after the IDBI bank was, IDBI as an institution under Companies Act of 4A was turned into a universal bank. Since then, the long outstanding demand which was pending for successive government, and particularly the UPA government, has never paid heed to those requests of the financial market, that a separate financial dedicated institution is required to propel the economy. And today, I'm sure the financial market will be extremely happy, and especially when they see the bill which embodies all the relevant aspects of a financial development financial institution which should be having to ensure that it plays a very important and pivotal role in developing and financing the infrastructure space. Sir, our colleague from the opposition was talking about those institutions. He referred about IDBI, IFCI, and other institutions, but they had a limited role of financing, sir, infrastructure financing and industrialization. But they never had the development of financial development responsibility. And this particular development financial institution has dual role, financing and development as well, of a structure, a framework in the system which actually ensures that the financial market has the ability to fund those projects in infrastructure which has now not been being funded. So, sir, I would like to also remind the members that since 2014, the Honorable Prime Minister from day one has stated that we want to build a new India. What does that new India suggest, sir? That it has to have modern infrastructure facilities. Do we have the modern infrastructure facilities? I will ask the opposition bench, particularly the principal opposition party, which had been in power, but did they really look into this matter seriously? How much percentage of GDP we were investing in fixed assets? Sir, I will tell you one number, sir, a statistics which is important and relevant from that perspective when you wear those spectacles to analyze what is the role which is being played by the successive government, then you will see that fixed asset investment in case of in India, it is 30 or less than 30% of GDP, while if you see the various other countries in the world, particularly I'm talking about the developed and even developing countries, which has 45 to 50% of GDP is investment through fixed asset investment. When I say fixed asset investment, I do not mean the infrastructure investment. I mean it is percentage of GDP of what is invested in industries, what is invested in infrastructure, what is invested in other industrial initiative. In India, is less than 30% compared to China, sir. I think it's a number which I think everyone should see. China invests 50% of their percentage of GDP in the fixed assets investments. And how much it translates into, sir? It is $8 trillion. $8 trillion. The number I think everybody must remember this $8 trillion. And out of with this $8 trillion, sir, 28% alone is invested in is infrastructure space, which is $22.6 trillion. Take the number in 2020, sir. China has invested $2.6 trillion, which is 12% of GDP alone in infrastructure space. I think it is important for all of us to see what the Honorable Prime Minister wants. He wants to develop a modern infrastructure. How it can happen, sir, when we have a target of $5 trillion economy? Yesterday I heard one of opposition member, I think he was talking about industrial investment growth, and I think it is important. I must mention those things. Sir, 100-meter sprint hota hai, और 400 मीटर जब होता है रिले होता है, तो आपको जब वो सब कुछ एवरेज में बताते हैं, एवरेज ऑफ माई UPA1, average of industrial investment growth, average of UPA2, I think, sir, it is important for all the members to know these important facts that जब रिले होता है तो एक आदमी दौड़ के बैटन दूसरे को देता है. उसी तरह 2004 में I will request everyone to see what was the industrial investment growth. Huda ji was yesterday saying industrial investment growth and credit growth had come off during Modi regime. And I will remind them, and I will tell them the number you must go and check. It is important for you to know the numbers, and it is important for you to analyze your own performance. In 2004, when we handed over the baton to UPA1, the industrial investment growth was 24%, sir. And I must tell you how it has come off. It has come off every year, every year. I can give you every year data. And I think I will request opposition bench to must go and analyze every year how it has come off. And eventually, sir, it has come from 100, speed of 100, आपकी speed हो गई 90, आपकी speed हो गई 5-7%. मतलब आप 100 के रफ्तार से चल रहे थे, आप 10 से भी किलोमीटर के रफ्तार से कम हो गए. Means the industrial investment growth, when they handed over to us in 2014, it was 1.6%. Where we had started, when we handed over the government in 2004, it was 24%. Likewise, sir, when they speak about a credit growth rate, sir, I think it is important, and the honorable members must know, and must know, not see the numbers or the average. You must see the statistics. A statistic, when you see the static, when you analyze it, you see every single numbers, and then you collate it and then make the average. I think it is important for us to know, sir, that in 2004, when we handed over the baton, again I'm reminding you, the credit growth rate at that point in time was 20.7%, sir. What does that indicate? That there was a huge momentum in the economy. Industrial investment growth 24%, credit growth of 20%. There was momentum. There was a lot of economic activity. Everything was working in the right direction. And then what happened? Since 2006, somebody was mentioned, and I must tell you the numbers. Till 2002, in 4 or 5 years, sir, the bank, which had since inception in 1947, since our independence, had the total outstanding assets or book size of bank were 18 lakh crore, which in 4 years it became ballooned to 54 lakh crores, 3 times. How? Sir, किसी आदमी पर अगर बोझ दे दीजिए, उसके अगर क्षमता हो 50 किलो लेकर चलने की, और वो अगर आपने उस पर 500 किलो रख दिया, सर, जाहिर है वो आदमी नहीं चल पाएगा, सर. Likewise, it happened in the case of Nationalized Bank. They made it possible. The Honorable MOS Finance, Anurag Thakur ji, day before yesterday said, phone banking. Exactly, sir, phone banking. It was the mantra where without proper credit evaluation process, without doing any homework, loan was being sanctioned. Former Prime Minister is here. He's an economist. I'm sure that what I'm speaking, he will understand that most of the project which has been funded at that time, sir, if you discount with the discounting rate, you will have negative EBITDA. I had spoken in the budget speech, but I could not speak in detail. But I must tell you that at that time, most of the project were making loss at inception. Means it was forced to lend, or there was an arrangement which has facilitated this lending. And this lending, eventually what happened, sir? Credit offtake will have to come off in our case, because all this has turned to NPA, and all the corporate which had been lent was busy in deleveraging. When you are in deleveraging mode, how will you take loan from the bank? Bank is not in a position because they have huge NPA. Then you have a corporate who actually their loan has turned NPA because they had taken loan in anticipation that they will siphon money or do whatever it is, but it was not a profitable project, which will never take a start, which will never take off. Still, it has been funded, and I think it is important. The government plays a very important role at that time. It would have been a white paper at that time, the economy would have collapsed, because I remember at that point in time, economy, people were talking across the globe. What is the status of economy in India? Why there is a policy paralysis? Everything was spoken by the global players because nothing was moving here, except people are talking about how to hand over this economy, which is in terrible shape, to another government, because who can potentially have the ability to run. Because we have seen in the past, 1999 to 2004, they have the ability, they have the capacity, they have the honesty, they have the transparency, they have demonstrated everything to run a good governance model, and that is what they were waiting for, and the whole world was waiting for. Eventually, it happened in 2014 when our government came. We didn't go for white paper because it would have been against the interests of our nation, and we never worked, never taken steps, not in the interest of the party, but interest of the nation. That is a priority of our government, and that's why we did not say anything about it. Had we spoken about that time and taken everything out in order, out in open, then probably they would have never even had a chance to speak about the loan they had sanctioned or facilitated at that point in time. Sir, you must understand, our government's initiative is what? We have to develop modern infrastructure. And that's why, what are the problems which these institutions were facing? All the institutions which were engaged in financing infrastructure project, you have to understand that, sir, there was inherent issues. There were some issues which was adversely affecting these institutions. That's why they didn't last long. And that was what? Because they didn't have the long-term, long-dated resources. If you don't have a long-dated resources, how will you fund long-dated loan or a structure of infrastructure project? Because all these infrastructure projects, sir, it has a long-dated. It is not a 2-year, 3-year where you can fund from out of banking book. So we have a problem. We have, IDBI has been turned into a universal bank. There was no other institution which can potentially raise long-term resources. Earlier, sir, under Section 4A, it was defined in the Companies Act that institution which is defined as a development financial institution can raise, including ICICI, I'm not saying only the public sector, including ICICI, which also became bank, was in a position to raise long-term money. But they were long-term money means it has to come from retirement benefit plan which is being run by pension fund or provident funds. So all those retirement benefit funds can invest there. Insurance companies invest. All this which has long-term liability, they can invest in long-term assets. So those they were able to some extent, they were able to raise resources and on-lend fund it. But sir, when they turned bank, they cannot, because all these infrastructure projects has long-term, these are all long-term projects. You have a bank where it primarily works on a model of CASA, current account and saving accounts. And then you have a time demand deposit, which is again running 1 to 3 years. If you take a weighted average, you will have a maturity of 1 year, not less than that, not more than that. So you have a liability in the bank which has a maturity of 1 year, and you are funding an asset which has a maturity of 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. How can it happen, sir? Means you are running a big mismatch. If you are running a big asset liability mismatch, you are bound to fail. Because one more issue, sir, if the government never emphasized today, I think this, I'll come to that point also, sir, that these are the issues which has been identified by this in this bill and which has been addressed also. Like for instance, sir, a bank, if you force a bank to take give a loan to infrastructure structure project which has a door-to-door maturity of 18 years or 20 years, but they have only 1 year liability. So every time they have to raise resources from the overnight market to fund those projects, which is not a sustainable model. And especially as the Honorable Finance Minister just stated, that many of the project is a greenfield project, and it has no recourse. So it's not collateralized based lending, it is based on primarily on cash flows. And if you just do a back testing of all the years which has been funded all the infrastructure project, there were two types of projects, sir. One, I must say that there are, when the credit evaluation was done, and as to assess the cash flow modeling of all those projects, then many of the cases, yes, I agree that it has been validated, revalidated, and ascertained in a manner that, yes, it has enough headroom to sustain even if the cash flow varies to some extent. And if there is a volatility in cash flows, in future cash flows, then of course it can sustain because we have given certain cushion to ensure that those kind of knee-jerk reaction can absorb those kind of reaction. But sir, most of the project at that point in time, what was the approach of the bank? Bank's approach was to have as low as their exposure, means in terms of door-to-door tenure. So if you have funding a 25-year project, and if you have only 10 years, you want to fund for 10 years, they will eventually, tail risk will be there, and they will, either they will have to refinance, or they will have to find a way out. Secondly, sir, to ensure that, because they knew that it cannot happen, so ensure that they are actually projecting a cash flow which is not sustainable, which is not factually correct, and that is why they suggest that, yes, DSCRA, that is the way it is evaluated, a debt servicing coverage ratio, it is something which is giving more than 1%, means there is a potential this company can service those debts which has been outstanding on the book. So those are the approach which has actually been adopted by the various banks. And eventually what happened, we have seen many of the projects which could not take off for various reasons which had problem because of this structure, they could not, or the cash flow modeling which was done at that point in time was not factually correct, or not taken the actual cash flows which will generate these companies. So eventually they had all become NPAs. They started defaulting because bank was only interest was that you have to have amortization schedule or approach which actually safeguard their interest. So it didn't work, and that's why it was important. It was important, sir, I'm repeating, it was important to set up a development financial institutions which will ensure not only financing, also developing the framework of infrastructure space. And sir, there is a famous book, Kural, and Tirukural. I think many people, honorable members, would know about this book. It is a pious book in South India. In that book, it has been said that no time, there's no good time, like the book suggests that where there's a good time and where the good intent, it binds and it becomes a rope and binds the wealth. And I think there can't be better time and better opportunity to develop or to set up a development financial institution now than ever in the past, because we have a lot of things going for us. India has become a prominent global market. India has, yes, there are certain things which India needs to have, like the Honorable Finance Minister just mentioned about the bond market. Because if you just see globally, sir, unlike India, where the projects are being funded by who? Banks. There's no financial institution. In the absence of financial institutions, it's being funded by banks. But if you just take the Western world, banks do not fund those projects, sir. And I must tell you, everyone should know that banks do not fund those projects. We are following that model. Bank only funds retail. The long-term project is being funded by the capital market. We do not have a capital market, and that in the absence of those liquid capital market, bank is funding those projects. So government has envisaged this problem, and that's why the Honorable Finance Minister has spoken about it, that we need to develop. I think one of the honorable member has spoken how and what way it can be developed. Of course, they have failed to develop because it's not today's demand, a long-term bond market needs to be developed, which has liquidity, which can even, you can go down the rating curve, and still a small corporate can access to the market and raise resources, is something which has been envisaged by our government, and I'm sure going forward with the Honorable Finance Minister under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister will be able to develop it and demonstrate that we have the capability and capacity to do that. And I do not want to go into detail because I can speak for us only on the bond market because this is something which plays to my strength, sir. But I can only remind that you must remember when the government securities market opened for the market, then it is this government, it is our government in India one, had set up primary dealership. And today, the liquidity, kind of liquidity we have, is something which everyone knows. And primary dealership role plays the two-way quotes it gives. It creates liquidity. And what is important that you have the market which actually has both buyer and seller. And that is something which can be done and which will be done by our government. And I'm sure that we will have a liquid market and we will be able to demonstrate that a liquid bond market is something which, like the Western world has, we will be able to develop it here because all the infrastructure project is being funded by the capital market. Today, the foreign resources which the honorable member was talking about, that we shall not access to private capital. I think, sir, it is important to realize that there is a cheap capital available across the globe. And if you just access the global market, especially when you have a company like a new development financial institution which is backed by the government, has a lot of resources available. We can channelize those resources for our infrastructure development. There are several sovereign wealth funds, sir, who wants to invest in the country. They know that the infrastructure is the one which actually is the right place in India where you look at right, left, wherever there is an opportunity, whether it's road, port, and everything, there is an opportunity in the infrastructure space, and they are looking for such opportunities. I think you need to have a vehicle, we need to have platform. And today with this development financial institution, we will have a perfect platform to channelize those private capital into the country, which will be used for developing a sound infrastructure financing in the country. Sir, a few minutes I will take.
Please
I've just taken 22 minutes, sir.
Conclude 1 or 2 minutes.
I've taken 20, sir. At least 25 minutes.
नहीं, जो पार्टी ने टाइम दिया उसके अनुसार माननीय जफर इस्लामी, please.
As always, I will comply because you have always told me to conclude, and I have concluded. But today, I will take liberty for 2 minutes, sir. Sir, only while concluding, I would want to tell you, sir, this is the best time, most opportune time. We have a demographic dividend. This will bring a lot of opportunity, prosperity, and benefits to the country because we have a dream of $5 trillion economy. I'm sure that the Honorable Finance Minister would know at what CAGR rate we will be able to achieve by 2025. But at back of the envelope calculation, if I do, I see that 11%, if I continue to grow, we will be able to achieve $5 trillion economy. And I must tell you, sir, the momentum in this infrastructure, if we have, and the kind of investment which we have envisaged, Jairam Rameshji said paid up capital was of 1 lakh crore. I just want to correct him. Maybe by mistake he said paid up capital is only 20,000 crore. This authorized capital is 1 lakh crore. And on the top of that, government is also giving grant of 5,000 crore. And why government is giving grant? Because first, the tax saving which we have, they have a debt present value, they have calculated and assumed that 5,000 crore grant should be given to this organization. I don't know how it will be treated in the balance sheet, whether it will pass through P&L or it will sit as government security sit on the asset side and the interest will be earned. All these things, modalities, I think finance. But one thing I just want to tell you, sir, that $5 trillion economy, modern assets, it is this government who has envisaged will be able to deliver because both in terms of the dream and both in terms of the leadership quality which we need to take important and put together important legislation has been done and will be doing to ensure that this is done. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you.